Hello and welcome to the Back Nine Report. My name is Carlos Torres, along with Fred Altvater. We check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Hey, we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it happened in golf, we have it for you. Fred, hi, how are you?
Hey, Carlos, I'm fantastic. And I'm really excited about our topic tonight that we're talking about. Stacy Lewis was just chosen as a Solheim Cup captain. You know, she's one of my favorites. I can't wait to talk about it.
I'm from Toledo, Ohio, so that's why it has to be, of course. But like you mentioned, Stacy Lewis will captain the U.S. team at the Solheim Cup next year. That's scheduled to be in Spain from the 22 to the 24th of September on the course of the Finca Cortesín of Casares in the heart of the Costa del Sol in Andalusia.
Yeah, I'm so glad you had to say that. It just rolls off your tongue. There's no way I could say that.
Stacy, she's a two-time major champion. She won the Kraft Nabisco Championship in 2011 and the Women's British Open 2013, and it was in St. Andrews. And in her career, she boasts 13 victories on the LPGA Tour, figure including the two Grand Slam tournaments she won. Now, as I mentioned, she's from Toledo, Ohio, and even before starting this new adventure, she has already set a new record. She's in fact the youngest American captain in the history of the Solheim Cup, the female Ryder Cup, right? So only Catherine Nilsmark, also considering the old continent, did better because she led Europe in 2003 at the age of 36. Now, next year, Lewis, at the time that the Solheim Cup will be played, she will be 38. For Stacy playing in the Solheim Cup, she played in the 2011, 2013, 2015, and 2017 with two successes in her last appearances. Now, in 2019, when she was forced to retire due to injury, she was instead one of Julie Inkster's assistants. And that was a circumstance that was then repeated in 2021 with Pat Hurst. This is the U.S. response to Europe, which last November announced Norwegian Susanne Pedersen succeeding Katrina Matthew as a captain. In 2023, Stacy will have the task of leading the U.S. to success after the two defeats of 2019 and 2021, where she was an assistant captain. So she was part of seeing up close there what happened. Stacy, she arrived back in the LPGA Tour in 2009. That year, she was crowned the Rookie of the Year. She went on to win 13 titles, like I mentioned, in the LPGA, two majors. But definitely, Fred, the way that I see this, the fire and that presence that Susanne Pedersen commands on the European side, the US had to counter with something equally like that. And I don't think there's anybody else that can embody at this time that same thing, that passion for the Solheim Cup, that energy than Stacy Lewis.
Yeah, Carlos, as you know, I've been following Stacy's golf career since she was in college at Arkansas. She grew up in Houston. She was born in Toledo. So she does still have some roots there. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. I actually did my first interview with her at the Jamie Farr Toledo Classic when she was invited to play while still in college. She was at Arkansas when we talked to her the first time in Toledo. When the Jamie Farr Classic was struggling, it was Stacy Lewis who helped save the tournament by convincing Marathon to become a title sponsor there. Judd Silverman, the tournament director, went to Stacy, set it up for her to play with the chairman and the president of Marathon in a pro-am, and they had a great conversation. And from that, he was convinced that they should invest. And Marathon has been a tremendous supporter of the LPGA now with the Marathon Classic, stepping up to be a presenting sponsor of the Solheim Cup. And so that was a big deal. The tournament has flourished over the past few years because of its success. Organizers were able to entice the Solheim Cup to Inverness. And now the USGA is committed to host the US Amateur and the US Women's Open in Inverness as well. All this can go back, Carlos, to Stacy Lewis talking to Marathon Oil and getting them to become involved in the LPGA in Toledo. Stacy was no slouch as a player. She has won 13 events. She won the 2011 ANA, a major, and the 2013 Women's British Open. She's finished inside the top 10 117 times and was the #1 ranked woman player for 25 weeks. Stacy has always been wise beyond her years and will be a wonderful Solheim Cup captain. You alluded to Suzanne Pettersson and her competitiveness. Deep down, Stacy Lewis comes off as very quiet and a very thoughtful young woman, but I'm telling you, deep down, she has that fire to win. And I think she will get that out of the players, get that through to them. As a young wife and mother now, her priorities to practice as much as in the past have changed, but she still possesses a very consistent golf game that churns out made cuts and top 25s every time she tees it up. She's become a serious spokesperson for women's golf. When she talks, people listen. She led the charge for higher purposes in women's golf, and it's becoming a reality very rapidly. She knows and understands the rigors and problems faced by top name LPGA players and will relate to them at the highest level. Carlos, all that being said, by the time we get to the Solheim Cup in another year or two, she's got her work cut out for us. Yes, there's some great young players right now, specifically the Cortes and Danielle Kang, and you can name about 4 or 5 other young women on the American team. But I'm telling you, it seems like every time we play them, the European women have winners. They don't have just competitors; they got winners, and so they go out and to want to take this thing, they have that chip on their shoulder. So. And when we've played in Europe the last few times, it has not gone well. So with all, I think Stacy's a great choice, but I don't have a lot of hope for our success over in Europe the next time.
We'll see. I mean, we still don't know how both teams are going to be
right
crafted. So there's still a long way to go. We're seeing some young Americans developing. Of course, we're seeing also some Europeans as well. But I know that she has, like you mentioned, her work cut out for her. But I'm really excited to seeing her. Like you mentioned, maybe when you see her, she comes out as a nice lady and all this. But like I mentioned, if there's somebody that can actually match that intensity internally that Suzanne Pettersson exerts outwards, it is her. And she loves the Solheim Cup. And she can relate to these young players. She's just a year removed from playing constantly with them. I mean, I know she had a kid, she got injuries and all that stuff, but if somebody is as close to the players right now and that for sure have their respect is Stacy Lewis. I think it's a great pick, and I can see what's going to happen. I actually think at least the process to go to the Solheim Cup next year is going to be great on both sides for us to see it. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen there.
I'm going to say one more thing about Stacy. And one of the reasons I started following her early was that, it's been well documented, her scoliosis. She had to sit out her freshman year of college because she was in a body cast. I have a daughter that had the same issues when she was 12 years old. We went through all this. And today, she's nearing 40 now, and she has issues still with her back. It hurts, especially on certain days. The pain and the aches are there. And I know Stacy has that stuff. For her to even be able to come back and perform at the level she performed in college in her amateur days, and then as a professional with those issues, you have to be tough. You got to be mentally tough, and she is.
Definitely, and that's something more that she could relate to more players, right? Is look, I've gone through this. Let's just huddle up and let's get this done. But anyway, thank you for joining us. It's always our pleasure to bring you the latest in golf news and information so you can stay up to date. Remember to subscribe to our channel. The link is under there in the description. Thank you for joining us.